It is a great pleasure to welcome Summer Bennett to this podcast. She is a young musical talent from Paradise, Newfoundland. How are you today, Summer?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great having you too, and I'm doing all right. So, first off, tell us about your latest single, Sirens.
Yeah, Sirens came out, I do believe in March, a while ago now, because I'm working on an album. But I first came out with my first single, um, my first three, um, and it started out as a prize package from Newfound Talent contest here in Newfoundland, and the third one was by Matt Dines, who is someone I met during this during my prize package. He mastered my first singles, and he wanted to do something with me as an actual single, and so I was really excited about that because he was always really awesome, really nice. And so we worked on Sirens, and to be completely honest, it's one of the funnest I've funnest times I've had in the studio. I We really worked together really well, and I really it turned out really, really well for us. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I listened to it. It was quite interesting. Yeah, I like the mixing of it. So, tell us about the recording of the song.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's kind of just like a pop rock mix kind of. I'm typically on the pop side, so it's really fun to get into that kind of alternative genre, which was really fun for me. Um and Matt is really good at like he was in a band before, and so he's a guitarist, and so he just made the song sound like a million times better. The song was originally just going to be pop, but once we had added the guitar, I was like full on alternative I wanted to go. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, you mentioned winning the 2021 Newfound Talent Contest in St.
Yeah.
John. So, tell me about how you enter that competition and how do you feel when you win?
Wow, it so the Newfound Talent Contest is like the contest here in Newfoundland. It's like everyone all all the young musicians always join. Um and it's really hard to win because there's so many young artists here and who are just incredible. And I started doing this contest since I was 10, I think. And so um when I did it when I was 13, um I kind of wasn't expecting it. I was just, doing it, to, you know, perform, have that chance. But when I won, it was crazy. I remember so specifically when I found out. Like my whole family was jumping up and down. We were all crying because I finally got a chance to break into the music business, and I got to record two singles, two demos, and meet a bunch of people, do photo shoots, and so it was like a dream come true. And it really started me off, and because I didn't know anything about the music business until I got that award.
Yeah. So, tell me about your mom and dad. Are they musical people?
Yes, my whole family is.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
yeah, my mom was like a music teacher growing up, and she plays piano. And then my dad, he wrote music when he was a kid, and he was in a band, and he plays guitar. And then my brother, he loves musical theater, so he's a big actor and into musical theater. And so I'm just surrounded by music daily, all the time, everywhere.
So, was it easy or tough for you to finally decide that, hey, I want to be part of the music business too?
Um, Really easy. I've been writing music since I was 7.
Well,
uh, yeah, I'd say about 7. I like just turned 7 that summer. And so I wanted to be a singer after, growing up around like Justin Bieber and all these pop artists when I was a kid, and I wanted to do what they did. And so that's when I started writing music. It was kind of a decision I made on my own. and they're like the most supportive people ever, and they help me with everything, and it's really nice to have them. And yeah, I decided very early on that this is what I wanted to do, and I just never stopped, and never had any really second thoughts about it. Um, but yeah.
So, tell me about the influence that these pop artists, Bieber and the like, have on you.
Yeah, they're really the reason that I'm doing this. Like I would just watch so mesmerized on like my TV watching, a live Justin Bieber or like live Britney Spears,
Mhm,
or I loved Selena Gomez, and I was a big Justin Bieber fan, but also Michael Jackson fan. And so watching all these people, I was like, I want to do what they did. I grew up as a dancer. I was a trained dancer since I was really young. And so watching these people sing and dance pop music, it was a dream. And I was like, I want to do that.
mhm,
So they had a really big influence on me for sure. And to this day they still do. Like I'm really inspired by new artists now like Billie Eilish and all these new people, Claro, and yeah, so I'm always inspired by musicians.
mhm. Yeah. So, why pop music in particular?
Um, I love all genres, and I think I really, I think the reason I really gravitated towards pop music is because there's such a dance. It's really could be dance orientated. So like I said, I grew up dancing, and so just seeing people singing and dancing, I just loved that. I feel like another reason is because here in Newfoundland, when I was a kid, no one would listen, like none of my family members would listen to pop music. It's kind of all um, like actual Newfoundland folk music,
Oh, wow.
and that's all I'd hear around all my houses and all just traditional stuff. And then when I like listened to the radio for the first time when I was really young, I was like, "What is this?" And I kind of really loved it. I mean, in other places, obviously pop is like it's the mainstream. That's the big one. But here when I was a kid, the only one I would hear would be folk. And so hearing this outside one that's so amazing, it was so different to me, and I just loved it so much, and I just wanted to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, and of course, a follow-up question on Justin Bieber. I think I was around, yeah, 11 or 12 when I first heard of him. Like he was getting big with that song, Baby, 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 Whoa. And maybe it's just because of either my gender or my age. I never find him appealing. So can you explain to me how he appealed to you?
um I mean, everyone was like obsessed with him at the time, especially, the girls. And that I was one of them. Um I had like the blankets, all the pillows with his face on it. I had all of his merch, and I always tried to get concert tickets, but I again just kind of the singing, dancing, and he was just so talented, and he was young when he did it too. He was like
Mhm.
12 when he broke out into the industry, I think. So, yeah, he's just so good.
That's it. So are there any artists that you like that is non-pop oriented?
Yes. My favorite artist ever is Tim Baker. Um, he is from Newfoundland, but he's located in Toronto now. But he's my favorite, and he does like a little bit more on the traditional like folk side, and like he's my favorite artist. And so I love to draw from like other genres too. Like I love the Foo Fighters.
Mhm,
They're like my favorite one of my favorite bands. And so, I don't just listen to pop music. I mean, that is what I write and what I do, but I love drawing from any kind of music.
mhm. Have you listened to the Foo Fighters' latest album? Yeah.
Yes, I did. I listen to all of them. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Which ones do you like best?
Like which songs, which album or
Song and album.
yeah, so my favorite song is The Pretenders. I mean, You can't really go wrong with Everlong though. I know it's their most popular one, but like it's the most popular for a reason. Like I just love that song. Um, album. Um, I can't remember what it's called. It's the whole the all. It's the cover's all white. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I can't remember the name right now, but I the cover of it. It's like all white. Yeah.
Mhm. It's probably the latest one. The latest one has an all
Yeah, I
white
think
cover
so.
too.
I think it is. Me and my brother listen to them all the time.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I think yeah, I was never really a big fan of the Foo Fighters, nor the band that Dave Grohl was in previously, Nirvana. But I listened to their album "Wasting Light," which was released in 2011, and I found it to be quite good. There were a few like great songs in there, and I have a friend here who I met on the show. She's a DJ in Colorado, and she's like a huge Foo Fighters fan. And she even met like Dave Grohl and the drummer Taylor Hawkins, rest in peace.
Wow.
So she can
Yeah.
tell you way more about that than I am. So as of this interview, you are at the age of 15. So you've already won the 2021 Newfound Talent Contest and the Newfoundland Government Arts and Letters Award. So you've accomplished quite a lot in your young age. I can't remember what I accomplished at the age of 15, maybe making it through to grade nine. Well, that I think that's an accomplishment. So reflecting on that, how would you say? What are your thoughts on that? Reflecting on all that.
um, yeah, I mean, I've gotten surprisingly quite a few awards these past few years, which I'm really proud of and really excited about. And and each one just pushes me farther along in my career, and I'm really thankful for it all. Um, and yeah, I think at my age I've done quite a lot. Yeah, and I'm really happy about it all. Um, yeah.
I see. So you're going to school at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just
So,
about to go to grade 11.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was transitioning from grade 10 to 11. Um, it was I went to this one high school and I had such a horrible time that I moved out within a year. And then, the other school was not much better, but it's better. So it's my way of saying I had a terrible time in high school, but I managed to get through because of music, and that's how I come to enjoy listening to music and talking about music.
Hmm.
So yeah, so is the high school that you are entering a good one? Are you having a good time?
Um, I mean, I'm eh, kind of, I mean, not really.
Yeah,
I guess,
I guess so.
yeah, it's kind of just, it's school. Like, I'd rather be like making music, recording music, instead of learning about math, but
Mhm.
it's fine.
I see. So
Yeah.
it's more of the subjects that gets you down rather than say the social life.
Yeah. I don't know. None of it really like interests me. I'd just rather be making music all the time
Mhm.
and not in school, but
Yeah. So do you have
yeah.
uh, I'm guessing you have friends who are musicians, right?
Yeah, I mean the only friends who are musicians are like part of Music NL, which is the like foundation here in Newfoundland. Um, but besides that, like all my friends aren't musicians at all. They don't have like anything to do with music. Um, like barely. So it's only kind of like my friends from Music NL, who I kind of call my music friends, but they're all like older than me,
Yeah.
like quite a
That's
few
it.
years. Um, but my like actual like school friends, like my age close friends, they don't really have it. They don't know. They don't understand what I'm really doing.
Yeah, I get it. So
Yeah.
is it more easier or is it easier to talk to people who are musicians than people who are non-musicians?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say yes because like there's like that's a great question because I feel like it's kind of like 50-50. I feel like you just relate so much to other musicians
Mhm.
where like I feel like it's kind of my group, you know? I just feel a lot more comfortable around them because I feel like they get me because um, they do music for their life and then that's what I want to do. And so when 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 I'm with my friends, like school friends, like they don't get that really, and so I feel like it is easier for the most part.
Yeah, but I wonder if being a musician sort of like help you help or hinder your, say, high school social status. That'd be the flip side to the previous question that I asked.
um, for me, not really. Just cause like being, I put out my first single when I was in middle school, and middle school people are not very nice about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I
Um,
know,
they
I know.
they're like they you know, I understand because I guess it's weird for someone in middle school to put out like official music. Um, but like I was the only one. I'm in a small town in Newfoundland. Nobody puts out music. It's not like it. No one else did it, and so people thought that was weird, and so people were pretty brutal about it. You know, just being
Mhm.
teased all the time about doing music. Now, not so much, I guess, because high school people just don't really care. So
Yeah,
it's if anything, it's just done me kind of worse, but I don't really.
mhm.
It
Yeah. I
doesn't bother
mean,
me that much. Yeah.
I get the same dynamic as I transitioned from middle school to high school. I think
Hmm.
it's obviously easier when you're in elementary school because everything you did is somehow interesting. But in middle school, people have come up with the most ingenious way to put others down because of
Yeah.
anything, really. Like, I mean, if we were to be sympathetic, you'd say that, well, they're all going through like certain insecurities of their own, and by pointing to a different target, they could get all the vitriol and the mob hate uh, away from them and to another person. And and I noticed too that in high school, people don't mock you because of whatever you do anymore. They just don't care.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly what I think. Yeah.
mhm. So you find the apathy being worse than the constant jeering and mockery.
Mhm.
Also,
It's yeah, I agree with you on that. It's just middle school they're kind of a little bit more brutal than high school. So I don't really get anybody saying anything anymore, but yeah.
so I hope your parents and your family are currently supportive of your endeavor.
Very. They very much are. I couldn't ask for more.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. None of my family members are interested in what I do. So yeah, that's just how they are. I kind of have to live with it. So mm, yeah. Tell me about growing up in Paradise. And before you start, I'm guessing the name doesn't live up to its expectations.
No. It's like really cold here all the time and it's not very nice. So I wouldn't really call it paradise. It's always this big joke I have, but um yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes I feel like I mean, paradise isn't really in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of right outside the city, but I feel like Newfoundland in general, the island is kind of just in the middle of nowhere sometimes. And so sometimes I feel really isolated and away from all the action. You know, I always wished I lived in Toronto or LA or any of these cool places, but I kind of always felt like I could never break out into the music industry ever. Um, but I never realized that there's this whole um, group here, Music and Owl. It's like this whole group just supporting each other, and it's really awesome. And um, they're so supportive, and I didn't know that, and so I kind of always hated it. And now it's a lot better now that I kind of have it feels like I kind of have my people. And yeah, so I kind of always felt really isolated and away from everything. But it's a lot better now, especially because you could always do music like now that we have social media and you could kind of make music anywhere now. Obviously would still rather be in Toronto or LA, but that's always been a dream of mine. But um, it doesn't bother me as much now as it used to when I was younger.
Okay. So you haven't visited either Toronto or Los Angeles, right?
I've been to Toronto multiple times, but I've never been to Los Angeles.
Mhm,
Toronto's like the only Toronto and Halifax are like the only places I've been.
mhm. I'll say that they are. I don't think they live up to the expectation. So just a heads up. And I've been to Toronto many times. I've known people who are in LA, and from what I hear, it can be very crowded and it can be very isolated, despite the fact that it is crowded. And
hmm I'm
I have to
like
do the
I'm
same.
like a city girl though, so like I would just be love to be in a city too. Like that's just another thing for me. But yeah, I do agree with that. That's true.
Yeah. I'll say I'm currently living in Central Europe, so the cities of Central Europe, I think, would be more suited for you at least than the very big cities of North America. Simply because life is much more interesting when you need it and calmer when you need it. Yeah. I'm moving to Budapest soon in the fall. I'm pursuing my studies there, and
Oh wow.
it's a wonderful city and lots of great sightseeing and yeah, and plenty of music places too if you need it.
That's so cool.
Mhm. So, have you been anywhere outside of Canada?
I was in like Disney World, like Florida, when I was a kid. But besides that,
Yeah,
that's it. Just Canada.
I see. So,
Yeah.
was the trip to Disney World your idea or your parents or your family's?
Yeah, we used to go. I think we went a couple, a few times when I was a kid. Just yeah,
Mhm.
as a
Yeah,
family.
that's
Yeah.
that's quite a trip, right? It's I think Newfoundland is somewhere in the north of Canada and Florida is like in the south of America, so quite the flight, I say.
hmm
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a Disney girl?
I mean, I'm not like obsessed or anything. I obviously love Disney. I'm just
Yeah, I get it.
yeah.
There are bigger Disney fans where you go to school than you are.
Yeah.
I know. It's I don't get the appeal either. I know that there are plenty of people who like Disney pictures, many of them being girls, and I see them as I not just when I go to high school, but in universities as well. And they never really outgrow that. And it's the same they have the same vibe as people who like Taylor Swift, where they don't seem to outgrow things.
hmm
Yeah, yeah, that's what I noticed too. Yeah, so yeah. So speaking of, I guess you have thoughts on Taylor Swift. You mind sharing them with us?
What's really funny, I just watched a documentary on her last night, which is really funny, but um I really respect her and everything she does, and she's so incredible and amazing and talented. And like where she is now is insane. It's incredible. She's so awesome. I mean, I've never really like been a like big listener of her. Like I love her music. I specifically Reputation, that album I love, but I'm not like a major fan. I'd say I like her and I respect her and she's incredible, but I'm not one of those like big listeners. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. And I think it was that album that she did in 2017, Reputation, that made me dislike her. She comes off as really catty in that one.
Yeah, that one's my favorite. I like love that so
Mhm.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about that. When did you first come across it, and how did it, influence you? How did it make you feel?
um I don't know. I don't know when I came across it. It's kind of just I don't know, just the mainstream. I of course listen to pop all the time, and when that came out, I just I love it. I just think that in my opinion is her best album or the one that I love the most.
Mhm.
Um yeah.
So you had another single that came out before Sirens is titled Carsick. And
Mhm.
of course, according to Spotify, it is the first of two singles from the prize package that you won from the Newfound Talent contest. Yeah, so first, tell me about the prize package then. So they let you record two songs, and Kartik was one of them.
Yeah, so the prize package is like huge. It's crazy. Um it's two demos, free demos with
Mm.
the producer at the time. It was Christian Leslie. He's who did my demos. Um, Karsick was one of them, and what else was on? So we got two demos, a photo shoot. We got a bunch of like meetings with like industry professionals just to kind of know what we're doing. For some help, we got mixes, mix slash mastering. Um, we got all this crazy stuff. We kind of just got the we were able to put music out. I mean, I never it was like a dream for me. I never got to record in a studio before. It was my first time, and I just fell in love with it right away. And it can I it's just it's such an opportunity, and I thank Music and L for doing this every year for the youth and to give us a chance like this with such a major prize package. Oh, and we got to perform at the Folk Festival, which is
Mm,
a festival here in Newfoundland. That's really big, and we get to perform a couple songs there. I can't remember now. It was a while ago, but it was like a whole list of things you get, and it's so awesome.
mhm. Yeah. So yeah, tell me about the music scene in Newfoundland in its entirety. Like you did say that there were a lot of competition when you were participating in the Newfound Talent contest. So I'm guessing the music scene is quite vibrant there.
It is. It really is. And especially lately because Greg Wells, who's producing my newest album, he's an LA producer
Mm,
um, whose family is from Newfoundland, I do believe. And so he opened up a church. He kind of turned it into like a music studio and is creating this whole um, music scene. It's out in Winterton, and um, he's created this whole music, like this whole new part of Newfoundland, which is all about music. And so it's kind of broadened the music industry here, really. And everyone is so talented here, and there's um, so many musicians here that are incredible, and um, and we're really thankful to have him. And um, it's like he opened a new like record label here, Silly Cove Records, and he's just been doing wonders for everybody, including me. And I'm so thankful, and it's insane, and it's incredible. And there's such a crazy music side to Newfoundland. That's incredible,
mhm.
and it's so nice to have those like friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know a bunch of musicians from Newfoundland too. Many of them like 2 or 3 years older than you, obviously,
Hmm.
and they often perform at St. John. So yeah, have you got a chance to do anything at St. John's?
Yeah, so I'm like right next to St. John's. I
Oh, okay.
I could just kind of drive there. It's
Oh,
like
cool.
yeah, I'm like just kind of like outside of the city. Um but yeah, I'm performing as quite a lot as much as I can, I guess. And a lot of those shows are in St. John's. It's kind of like where everyone kind of performs and goes.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm there a lot, like every day.
Hmm.
That's kind
Yeah.
of where that's where the mall is. That's where all the cool stuff is. There's not much cool stuff outside of that. So,
Mhm. I see. So, tell me about some of your most recent performances.
yeah, I kind of do now. I'm kind of like since I'm working on my album, I'm kind of laying low a bit. I'm not doing anything, I guess, major. I'm doing quite a few gigs at Landwash Brewery. I just performed at the farmers market on Saturday. Um, I have a show at Spirit, the new bar Spirit downtown on the 12th of August. I'm trying to think of all my shows. Um, uh, next a week from today, I have a gig at Landwash Brewery. I think from 7 to 10. Uh, I kind of just have like a few of those cafe kind of gigs
Mhm,
in the future a bit, but not a whole lot. Um, but yeah,
mhm,
that's kind of my live shows.
mhm. Yeah. So, do you find it difficult to balance between your current schoolwork as well as doing music?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I'm so happy right now that it's summer and I don't have to do any schoolwork, but during the years, it gets tough. And especially last year because I was also doing like activities outside of school. Like I was on the volleyball team.
Mhm,
I've always played volleyball growing up, and that with dance and music lessons and schoolwork, um, it was really hard to kind of balance it all. So, and I feel like it's just gonna get worse because I'm I'm probably just gonna get busier as I go on, but it is it is hard, and so I'm trying to get as much done as I can this summer. Um, because I just know it's going to get a little hectic once I get into grade 11.
mhm. Yeah, 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 it was quite hectic when I was transitioning from grade 10 to 11 too, and I wasn't doing any music on the side. Yeah, not sure what my hobby at the time was, but it was probably something very boring. Um, yeah, so I wonder if you have any help or support with that whole balancing act.
Hmm. My dad is probably like the biggest help. I call I always call him my dadager. He's like my manager, really.
Oh, cool.
Um, and he does like everything with me. He's just so awesome. He's the best I can ask for. He just he supports my whole family does. They all support me in every which way, but my dad is really the one that kind of books all these things. He kind of helps me with my email whenever I'm in
Hmm.
school, and he answers. He's the one that's kind of setting everything up
Hmm.
for me because I only have so much hours in a day. But
Yes.
um, another big help is Matt Dines. He's always been a really awesome help. Um, he's he produced Sirens, my latest single, but he's done so many things outside of that for me. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so following up on your single Car Sick, which has a very lovely cover art right here. Um, what were some of the inspirations that go into writing and composing this particular song? And also some context regarding the cover art would be nice.
Yeah. So there's like so many stories with this song. The song's really complex. It has many different stories engraved into one, but I wrote it. It's a metaphor for anxiety.
Hmm.
So I kind of related the feeling of anxiety to car sickness, where you just feel kind of stuck. When you're like driving for a long time and you're just car sick and you want to get out, but you're just stuck in the car. That's kind of how I kind of related those two things.
Hmm.
Um, and I kind of talked about in the song about, things that make me anxious, like um, teachers. I have a fear of teachers.
Hmm.
um, because they never get me. I feel like whenever I'm in school, like I'm a musician and they just don't understand that I'm so busy. But anyways, and that's a whole other speech. But I talk about teachers, I talk about being at school, I talk about having a crush, I talk about just things that make me really anxious. Performing sometimes, like most of the time, I get really anxious. Um, I'm There's just so many things to do with that song. Meeting new people. Um, that's kind of what I talked. That's kind of what it's about, and I kind of really took that inspiration, what it's about, to producing. I in the song you could hear like car sounds, and you could hear um, the beats. I wanted it to make it sound like your heart's racing, and it's a little bit faster. It's uh, you know anxiety driven is kind of the inspiration for it. The photo art, so that photo shoot was with Richie Perez. He's incredible. He's amazing. I always have him for my photo shoots. Um, and he was actually part of the prize package. That photo shoot was for
Mm,
the Music and Out prize package, so I got that one um, for free because it's so amazing, the prize package. But it's not my car. It is a borrowed car
mhm.
um, that we found really last minute. But we did this whole photo shoot in this really awesome car. I used to know the model of the car. I think it's like a Firebird or something. I used to know, but I can't remember now. But it turned out so well. To this day, I still use those photos. I did that more than a year ago, which is crazy. I need some updated ones, but I still use those. They're so amazing. I love that cover art. It's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Mhm. It's a cool looking cover art, I must admit.
Hmm.
So aside from the metaphorical car sickness, do you get like literal car sickness?
I do. I don't, not as much as other people, I find. So I don't really, not as much. Like, I don't get like motion sickness either. Like, I could read in the car for hours and not
Oh,
get sick,
oh
which
wow.
is, I know a lot of people think that's really crazy because they can't read, but um, they tend to not be able to read. Some people can't even like look at their phone in the car, or else they get motion sickness and car sick. And um, I find the only reason I'd get it is when I just really want to get out of the car and I just don't want to be there. But I love drives. Um, I just They're so fun to me, and like I said, I read in the car. Um, but I remember I drive to get from here where I live to the other side of Newfoundland to Corner Brook. It takes 8 hours, about I think 7.5 to 8 hours is my guess. Um, and so when I drive out there, especially when I drive back, by the end of it, I'm like I feel sick. Like it's just a very long drive for me. Um, but yeah, most of the times I don't get that car sick, which is really funny. But
Mhm. Yeah. So I grew up in Vietnam, and we used to go on these long drives towards our vacation spots. Um, yeah, because we have a car and we don't want to use public transit. Um, and yeah, I remember feeling quite sick after like hour, 2 or 3, and we had to get out for like a few minutes. But
mhm.
one thing that happens during summer is that when you get back into the car is like an oven, and then the seats are hotter
Yeah.
than the surface of the sun, and it takes like another like 10, 20 minutes for things to get back to normal again because since the AC is turned on. Um, so I thought it was the worst feeling ever until I got on a plane and I had to fly from one continent to the other, which is from Vietnam to Canada. I was studying there for 4 years, so those plane rides are the worst. So yeah, tell me about the album that you guys are cooking up.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that dream of mine to make an album, which is really cool. Um, it's really what I'm working on every day, all the time, as much as I can. Um, and I'm really excited. I mean, we're doing it long distance, so we're doing it over like Logic, um, and over Zoom, um, and I'm really excited, and it's gonna be so good. And yeah, I'm so excited. It's gonna be awesome, and it's a dream come true, especially doing it with the Greg Wells,
Mhm.
which is crazy. And I appreciate everything he does for not only me but kind of everybody with Silly Cove Records. Um, and I'm always so thankful,
Mhm.
so happy, so thankful. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So, any info on, say, when the album will come out, and what the common theme of the songs are?
hmm. When it, I don't know when I have no idea. Um, that's a great question. I don't know. We never really kind of talked about that yet. I
Mhm.
don't know when it comes out. Um, my our plan is to get it done by early September. Um, and so it will be done then. I do plan on doing maybe a couple singles before the album. Um, overall, so far, the album has many topics. I mean, I'm kind of drawing a lot of inspiration from, you know, that saying, female rage? It's
Tell
kind
me
of
about
like
it.
been a big topic lately with like the new movies coming out, but um, I'm drawing from that for sure. And
Mhm.
other top. Yeah, it's I'm not someone who typically writes about like love songs or breakup songs.
Mhm.
Um and so there's not a whole lot of that in it. I kind of like to do metaphors and um different things and different subjects that I can kind of write about instead. So I have a feeling that there won't be a whole lot of songs about love on there. um yeah.
Yeah, which is I think it's a plus, because I think there are too many love songs.
Yeah, sometimes I think so too. I just feel like I don't like it's to me it's the funnest to write.
Hmm.
I think that's why they're and it's very relatable. I do get that, and it's really fun to write love songs. But I think I love a challenge. I love challenging myself, and I think the end result I like better
Hmm. Yeah.
if it's something different. And I love to write about intricate topics and different subjects that aren't that because I feel like it does get repetitive and I'm saying things people have already said before. When I want to say new things, I want to start new ideas, you know? So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of, tell me about these female rage songs.
Yeah. It's kind of more than that too. Like, you know, I have a lot of songs. I have songs about drug use and I have songs about I do have a song about obsessing over people, but it's not the same. It's a song um that I do sing this live, so I'm okay with saying this, but
Mhm.
um it's it is I do have this one song that um it makes it seem like it's a love song where like you're really liking someone. Um but and I feel like a lot of people think that that's what it's about, but it's not about that at all. I don't even think my producer knows that it's not about that. But it's actually, you know, about celebrity culture and about people obsess over these human beings to the point where it's kind of weird and toxic. You know,
Mhm.
people have like all these pictures of these people on their walls and they're humans and they make music and you're obsessed. Like I've been and I'm guilty, like I've been like obsessed with like an actor. Like obsessed as in like creepy, like to the point where it's kind of creepy, you know, when you're like looking up um edits on TikTok all the time and it's like not for a long time either. You're just I have all these like obsessions online, and it gets to the point where like, especially like girls, and they obsess over people. I mean, guys for sure too. Um, where it kind of gets creepy because like they're human beings, and I feel like it's a little weird. And so I that's just an example of one of many topics that I kind of dive into. Um, yeah, I mean, there is a song, kind of a breakup song, where it is about where I do take from female rage, and I do take that from for quite a few songs so far,
Mhm.
where it's just just anger, um, but in a way that isn't anger. I don't know how to describe it, but that's how I describe it, just like female rage. But I'm definitely taking inspirations off of that, and I'm kind of just writing kind of what I want to write. It doesn't really it goes together in some way or another. I feel like they go together well, but so far there's no like specific theme. you know?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if you get more inspiration writing and composing your songs from your real life experiences or from, say, songs or movies or shows that you've watched or listened to.
Yeah, I think everything for me. I don't typically like to write about situations that I'm in. I like to write metaphors of those situations I'm in.
Mhm.
Like instead of, for example, like what I did with Carsick, instead of writing a song about a situation I was specifically in where I was anxious, I'd write about a metaphor about feeling stuck in a car. That's not exactly what I was going through, but the same feeling, and it's inspired off those things. I don't like to write, specifics about people or things I've done. I like to create the same feelings, but not the same situation. Um, I do actually draw a lot from shows and movies, especially when I was a bit younger. I would, when I was stuck on what to write about, I would actually write about a situation from a book or a movie, because I guess it's not my real life, and it's a bit different that way, but or create the same similar feelings. But yeah, I kind of draw from everything, all my experiences and feelings and shows and movies I watch.
Mhm. Yeah, tell me about an example of these shows slash movies that inspires you.
One that I definitely remember is I don't know how old I was, but I read a book called Wish by I don't want to say the author's name wrong, so I'm not going to. Barbara O'Connor, maybe? I don't know. I don't want to say it wrong, but I read this book, Wish. It was one of my first books I've read, um, and I didn't know what to write about, and so I wrote a song called, I think it was just called Wish, and it was about the same kind of idea that this book was about, which is definitely an inspiration. Um, I don't know how old I was. That was a while ago, but that's kind of when it first kind of I started getting inspired by those things. I would draw from certain things and certain feelings at the time. But yeah, that's one example.
Mhm. Yeah, I went through my entire adolescence thinking I was in a Kafka novel. So yeah, I have the same idea as you. Are you a big reader?
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'd like to think so. I mean, I don't read. Oh, I love reading. I read before I go to bed every day. um, and I've got way too many books on my shelf. Way too many.
I see. Hey, maybe that's
Yeah.
why you're so good at metaphors. You like reading a lot. Most people who listen to songs are not really good at metaphors because the metaphors that they put in songs, and I think Taylor Swift is especially guilty of this, are quite shallow, deep as a puddle. So I think books carry better metaphors than songs.
I'm yeah, I guess. I'm
Mhm.
sure that might be definitely a reason. I mean, I definitely am inspired by everyday experiences and I read a lot, so
Mhm.
I guess I draw from that.
That's it. Yeah. Well, what kinds of stuff do you read? Fiction, nonfiction?
Fiction. Yeah.
Mhm.
All genres. I mean, mystery, fantasy,
Mhm.
um, mainly just YA, young adult stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
fiction.
Have you considered reading Jane Austen?
No, I'm not like really into the classics just because I feel like I'm a slow reader and so like they're just a bit complicated for me. I don't
Okay.
know, just like the old English, but maybe one day, but
If it provides a consolation, Jane Austen's novels were written for girls of your age at that time. So I think I would say Emma is a good first introduction to her. The prose is really easy to read, and you might come to like the characters and then dislike her. The title character Emma Woodhouse. I mean,
yeah, it's cool. Maybe, yeah, maybe one day. I mean, I have like hundreds of books um on my shelf that I need to read first for sure. So I don't know when I'd ever get to it, but
and I wonder if after high school, do you see yourself going to colleges, universities?
yes and no. I mean, I obviously hope music works out, and that's what I do specifically. But I wouldn't go to college for like, if anything, I'd probably go to film school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love anything, any kind of form. I kind of just call myself a storyteller. I love all forms of storytelling, and um, that movies, books, songwriting. Obviously, songwriting is my favorite, but I write. I love writing stories in every format, and so if anything, and if I don't do, I wouldn't go. I also wouldn't go to music school. I don't think. I don't know. I don't. I really don't know. But I've always wanted to go to film school. Um, because I've always wanted to, go into that form of storytelling as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's always been a thought, but I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of movies too. And when I was your age, I wanted to go to film school, but then I found out that I prefer watching and writing about movies than making movies themselves. So I think that is a dream deferred. But yeah, so what about movies that intrigue you as a storytelling medium?
um, just I guess the visuals, the cinematography I've always been into. Um, a couple years ago, like I'd go on YouTube and I'd look up like actual full length like um what's the word for it? Like teachings, like full yeah, like full length like somebody teaching. I studied a lot of cinematography. I would watch hundreds of videos, hours and hours and hours of videos about, behind the scenes or how they did this, learning about cinematography. I have full on notebooks of me writing about these things. I learned how to write scripts 3 years ago. I would watch videos upon videos of the formatting and um, how to storytell. So I've always really been into the behind behind the scenes of things. So I'm also my like I said earlier, my brother's a big actor, and so I used to be as well, but I've gotten behind the scenes on short films here that my brother were in, and behind the scenes of musicals, and I realize how much I want to be a director specifically. And like, I just want to say things like when something isn't working or someone, for example, I knew I wanted to be a director when I was doing the small musical, and there was somebody blocking somebody else on stage when it's like a rule that you have to like stay side on. And I wanted to say something and I wanted to direct. I literally was trying so hard not to like say things to people nicely, just be like, here, I think you should go on this time, I think you should, move that way. And I realized that like that's what I want to do. And I'm not like a bossy person. I feel like I'd be good at that. And so, and with my background loving storytelling and loving songwriting and stuff, I feel like I would just enjoy it a lot. Obviously, songwriting is my favorite, and so that's where I'd go. That's the direction I'd go, to music. But it would be a dream if I branched out to movies and shows one day. That would be awesome. Or film.
Yeah, I think a good way to combine those two passions of yours is to create and direct your own music video. Have you ever thought of that?
um, yeah, I do have two music videos out now,
Yeah.
which both of them came from my mind.
Mhm.
um, Fun fact, all of my songs, every single one, whether or not I plan on doing a music video or not, a music video or not for them, I have a vision in my mind, a scene or a visual in my mind for all of my songs, because whenever I listen to it, that's what I see. And so whatever songs we do have a music video for, that's what we always use. That one vision I have in my mind. And um, so every single song that I've written has this whole music video production already in my brain. And so on these sets of the music videos I had so far, I do have a fair good part say in it. It's kind of more of me and the filmmaker. I did one with Devin Suley and one with Tom Cochran. And both times it was kind of just us both directing it. We kind of were just moving things along, um, working together to create this really cool music video. And so I plan on doing that in the future too, to kind of make these visions come to life. So I always have this idea in my mind.
Yeah, it should be fun. I look forward to watching one of the music videos that
Yes.
you directed. And yeah, I'm a big fan of movies too. I watch them plenty of times as a pastime of mine, and they provide great comfort. So final question, one that ask every musician I've interviewed. What does music mean to you?
Means the world to me. That's an awesome question though. It's so Music to me is very heartwarming and always brings everybody in open hands, and um, it's a form of storytelling and a form of entertainment that just makes people feel things. And for me specifically, it's created these worlds. I mean, you could use music for every single day of your life. You could listen to it for entertainment. It's in movies, it's in scoring, it's in soundtracks. It drives it drives a film. It creates a world. It entertains people. It means so much to everybody else, and it's such a it's making me think, what does music mean to me? But I mean, that's what I grew up on. This is has what I do every single day of my life, and not yet have I gotten bored of it. So that just shows you how much I love it and how much it does mean to me. But I think it means something different to everybody, and it does something to everybody no matter. I don't think anybody hates music. I don't think it always impacts somebody's life in one way or another, and that's what I love about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's so many answers to that question, but yeah, I love that question.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Summer Bennett,
Thank you.
you magnificent creative mind from Paradise, Newfoundland, for joining the program.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.